I know I love you. I find it hard to see how you feel about me. 'Cause I don't understand you. Oh, you are yet to learn how to speak. When we first met, I will never forget. 'Cause even though I didn't know you yet, we were bound together then and forever. And I could never let you go. Baby, I can't wait to know. What do you think about things? Believe me, I will always be there, so you can tell me anything and I'll listen.
It's Wednesday Night Live with Brian Drew, Reagan Chapman, Grace Sellner, Brooks Chapman, Holly Blaze, Melissa Adams, Isaac Harris, Michael Agnew. Ladies and gentlemen, your host for the evening, the myth, the legend, Brian Drew.
Wednesday Night Live, we are back. I don't know what week it is, but that's all right. We've been doing this for a while, and it's been super fun. Some exciting news for you. Next week, we are doing Wednesday Night Live at St. Andrew. Out in the parking lot, we got a 22-foot blow-up projector screen, and we will be showing Wednesday Night Live out in the parking lot, on the north parking lot here at St. Andrew. So come get you a parking spot, and you can watch Wednesday Night Live here at St. Andrew. So we are super excited about that. Be watching social media, emails, and all that good stuff. We'll be sending out more information about when and where and what time you should be here at St. Andrew for all that. So be looking forward to that. If you're watching live right now, be sure to share your screen on your Instagram story and tag us. We love to see who's watching and where you're watching at. We got some great stuff in store for you tonight. We have some great videos put on by the interns. We have Inner Banks episode 6, and we have a message by Michael after all of that. So here we go with Inner Banks episode 6.
Well, I hope Tiara's okay.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
Where could she have gone? Oy vey!
Oy vey.
Oy vey.
Oy vey. Oy vey.
The fancy room.
Holy cow.
Oh my god.
This is the fanciest room I've ever seen.
So fancy.
It just emanates fanciness.
The fanciest of them all.
It's almost like it's fancy.
Yeah.
Tiara?
Tea?
T-Swizzle?
Tyrannosaurus Rex?
Tea time? With Tiara?
Toothpick?
Guys, did any of y'all see her?
Turpentine.
I don't know. I think this tiara is trying to point to something.
Well, what's it pointing to?
I don't know. The baby seems to be heading over there, maybe?
Where?
I don't know. It might be broken. Do you guys see anything?
Let me see. Maybe it's like glasses. Whoa.
You look pretty cool, James S.
Tiara vision.
What do you see?
What's that? Stay away if you ever want to see your friend again. Heart, smiley face, the gold monger.
Oh no.
So passive aggressive.
Is there anything?
Oh, what a guy.
Rookie mistake.
He misspelled layer.
If lost, return to 1234 the Layer Street. We gotta go to the Layer. Let's roll. Let's go.
Guys, the layers are closed for 30 minutes. What should we do?
I don't know. Anybody got a deck of cards?
No, forgot it at home.
I guess we'll just wait here. Hopefully the goldmonger doesn't come up.
I just hope Tiara's okay.
Oh yeah, that too. I forgot.
Yeah, me too. Wait. We gotta be careful. Could be dangerous in there. Masks on.
Gotcha.
Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. It's the Layer.
What have you done with Tiara?
Where's Tiara?
Where is she?
It's not me!
Where is she?
It's not me!
There she is!
Oh my gosh, Tiara!
Guys, you found me.
Tiara, we found you!
Oh, thank you. Guys, we have to look for a clue. Apparently there's some kind of vault.
Do you hear something?
No.
I think it's coming from this.
That looks like a little boy.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looks really cool though.
What is he saying?
Sanctuary!
Oh my goodness, did you hear that?
Yeah, I did!
Wait, say it again, little boy.
It's in the sanctuary.
Oh my goodness.
We have to go.
It sounds like the gold's in the sanctuary.
Yeah, I think we have to go.
Thank you, little boy. No thank you, mean woman.
Brr.
Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing a quick little makeup tutorial video. Hope you're excited. So today on my makeup tutorial, I have a special guest, Michael Agnew. Alright, so with today's tutorial, we're going to be doing a number of things. We'll be exfoliating, we'll be pampering, we'll be coloring, we may even do some eyebrows. So to start, I have my favorite exfoliating item. This is the Sprinkles Rainbow Edition. Now this Rainbow Edition is limited edition from 2011. So it just really just exfoliating, it just rubs on the skin well. So that's what we're gonna do. So if you'll just tip your head back a bit, we're just kind of just drizzle it on there. Nothing too crazy now. We're just gonna rub and exfoliate those cheeks. Yeah, we want to get all the old dirty old skin off of there. So now that we've exfoliated, we just have so many options. I don't even know where to begin. We're going to be using this extra creamy. It's my favorite whipping topping. Just because it's extra creamy, so it brings out the creamy side of the base. So this is also limited edition from 2008. So we're just really excited. Just the creamy whipping cream, it just does a great job of really bringing the color out of the skin. I'll just do a little sample of what it looks like there, so if you can see on camera, it just has a really nice white texture. So we'll just do a little dab slide here. Dab slide. The technique, because just so you don't get too much on your finger and just enough on the face. Dab slide, dab slide. And this we're just gonna let cure. Just stay there. You know, we don't want to rub in too deep, because then then we get too creamy, and we don't want too creamy. That's just bad. We're gonna do a little dab slide here all over the face, all the features, whippy creamy. So next is one of my personal favorites, is the limited edition ketchup. All right, from 1924. This stuff right here is the cream of the crop. It is a very, very, very beautiful red texture. I'll just put it right here on my arm for you to see. So you can see what this red looks like on the skin tone. And we will also be doing, this is a lip scrub. This is a lip scrub. So we're gonna do another dab slide here, but on the lips, not on the whole face. So I'm gonna do another dab, if you'll just pucker your lips. Dab slide, dab slide. And this is a great lip scrub because it really just brings out the color of the lips. So we'll just dab slide here, and it's working really well. Dab slide. So now that the lip scrub and the creamy whipped cream has cured, we will now be doing a pampering of the cheeks. So now we'll be using Gold Edition Flower. And some of you may be thinking, flower? This isn't any flower. This is Gold Edition from 2019. So it's not too old, but it's certainly not too young. The implement of choice is the double-sided yellow-green sponge. And we'll just do a little, you want to use the green side because the yellow side, is just not what you want. So we'll just get a nice heavy coating onto the green side and just put it on the face. You want to see it flutter, okay? You want to see it flutter. So you just want to get a good heaping spoonful, spongeful, same thing. Powder it on there. You can put some on the nose. Just really does a nice job of incorporating all the things we've been using. So now that we're getting to the end, we just really want a nice buttery finish, some might say. And so to do that, we will be using the buttery flavored beauty spray. This is from 2008, so it just ages with time. So we're just gonna, it's really nice stuff. If you just look, it has a yellow tint to it, but it dries clear. So once it dries, you have a really nice glossy finish. It's really nice stuff. So I'm just gonna take this hat off, and I'm just gonna take this rag and just cover up your eyes because you don't want this stuff in your eyes. So just do a little tss, tss, so just a tss, tss, and it's very nice. It just goes on very nicely. I'm gonna do it again, but the other way. See how it just brings out the natural yellowness of the forehead. You know, I love this channel, and I just love being able to just make my clients beautiful. If you want to be pampered and be beautiful next week, just like and subscribe. And thanks for tuning in.
Week 6 of Wednesday Night Live, we are here and we are continuing our parable series. And today I'm going to be talking on forgiveness. Forgiveness is a topic that I struggle with a lot. I'm sure that every single person watching this right now, you have some memory of somebody hurting you, and there is still bitterness inside of you from that. And as Christians, like, we see this parable that Jesus tells, and really, like, forgiveness isn't really like a naturally human thing to do, but forgiveness is really the crux, is the main thing of Christianity, is that we were forgiven, that God forgave us, so we are called to forgive other people. That is something that is very easy to say, but doing is extremely hard. Like, I'm just being real. I can remember in detail how Brittany Johnson made fun of my stutter my entire 6th grade year better than I can remember my first year of marriage. Every time that I have to read something out loud, I remember my 8th grade English class laughing at me as I was reading this Shakespearean play. My stutter is something that I am very insecure about at times, for sure. And because of that is because there is hurt that someone made fun of me, that somebody laughed at me, that somebody did something to me. And from that hurt, from that pain becomes bitterness. And whenever you look at the world right now, so much hurt and so much brokenness and so much pain comes from us being unwilling to forgive somebody else. And a big reason for that is because we have this misconception of what forgiveness actually is. At least for me, I have thought most of my life that forgiveness is me letting somebody who did something wrong let go. That basically turning a blind eye to somebody's wrongdoing. I think that forgiveness is more of the action of somebody else rather than forgiveness dealing with me myself, being this internal thing. But forgiveness actually is just releasing a debt that somebody owes you, is releasing an IOU that somebody owes you. I'm going to say this really dumb story, and obviously there is way more bitterness, way more heavy things that people are dealing with. But a couple weeks ago, or actually back during Easter, Isaac is from Kentucky. And in Kentucky, there is this Mountain Dew type drink called Ski. And Isaac has put this into my life. It is my favorite soda. And so for Easter, Isaac gave me this 12-pack of Ski soda. And since Easter, I have been saving on to this one Ski soda. It is in our refrigerator. I tell Zara, I'm like, Zara, I'm going to save this soda for this big day. And a couple weeks ago, Zara drank the Ski soda. And I go to the refrigerator and I see that my Ski is missing. And I'm like, Zara, what in the world, where did this go? And she's like, sorry, Michael, I'm pregnant, I'm really tired, and I needed some extra caffeine boost, so I drank your Ski. And the anger and the bitterness that she drank my soda after she promised that she wouldn't drink my last soda continued for weeks and weeks and weeks. And Zara apologized, and she said that she would go on Amazon and buy me more Ski soda. She said that she would never drink any Ski soda ever again. But no amount of apologies, no amount of promises that she would never do it again ever filled in this void of me not having any Ski soda, of me looking into my empty refrigerator and not having Ski soda. Because really, whenever someone hurts us, whenever someone betrays our trust, there's nothing that person can do that will ever fully fix that gap. So whenever somebody hurts us, there becomes this gap between us and this person. And so even if Zara 2 months later had bought me a whole 12-pack of the soda, it would never have fully fixed anything. I still would have held on to this resentment. I still would have remembered about this infraction that she did to me. And so for forgiveness is us saying, hey, there's nothing that you can do to fix this. But I am going to rip up this IOU, this invoice, this debt that you owe me. There's no way that you can fulfill this debt, but I am going to rip it up instead. So before we get into this big parable on forgiveness, I at least wanted to give a definition of what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is not turning a blind eye to is not allowing something unfair to happen. It is acknowledging that there's nothing that this person that did something wrong to you could ever do to actually fix it. And holding on to this invoice, holding on to this bitterness doesn't actually change it. So this parable starts in Matthew chapter 18. It starts off with a question that Peter asked to Jesus. Most parables start because Jesus is asked a question, and instead of Jesus just giving a very simple answer, he goes on like a 20-verse parable explanation. So it is a lot of reading. Try not to laugh at me as I stutter, or that'll make me feel insecure. Just kidding. So verse 21, Peter asked Jesus, Lord, how often should I forgive someone who sins against me? 7 times? So in the Jewish tradition at this time, there was this kind of rule that if someone hurt you, you were to forgive them 3 times. And after 3 forgivenesses, you no longer had to forgive them. So it's like 3 strikes. And you're out. And so Peter says, hey, Jesus, I'm going to do 4 times more than I should. Is 7 times good enough? And so Jesus responds back and he says, no, don't forgive them 7 times, but forgive them 70 times 7. So some quick math here, that's 490 times. And Jesus does not mean to keep this running tally list of 490 times. What he is saying is that don't put a limit, don't put a cap on how often you should forgive somebody. That forgiveness should be a response to God's mercy. That forgiveness, that you shouldn't have this tally, but that you should have this limitless amount of forgiving people. That whenever we have a cap or a limit for how often we are going to forgive somebody, that puts a cap or a limit on how God is going to move in our lives. Because whenever we stop forgiving somebody, that allows pain and bitterness to put a chain on our hearts, and it affects our actions, it affects our thoughts. And so forgiveness is not for you, it's not like something magical is going to happen to the other person, but something magically, spiritually is going to happen to you. It is you moving past that pain that happens to you. So then Jesus says 490 times, and then he goes into this parable, and he says, therefore, the kingdom of heaven can be compared to a king who decided to bring his accounts up to date with servants who had borrowed money from him. And then in this process, one of his debtors was brought in, and he owed him millions of dollars. This man could not pay his debt, so his master ordered that he be sold along with his wife and his children and everything that he owed to pay for this debt. So basically, there is this king, and this guy owes this king millions of dollars, and this guy couldn't pay millions of dollars, obviously. And so the king says, hey, I'm going to sell you. You owe me this debt, and this is this is the consequence for this debt that you are owed. But then this man fell down before his master, and he begged him, please be patient with me, and I will pay it all. Then his master was filled with pity for him, and he released him, and he forgave his debt. So I'm going to pause here. This is not the end of the story. But it is interesting that this man didn't ask for the king to forgive him of his whole debt. What this man did was ask for more time. He said, king, please give me more time, and then I can pay you millions of dollars. And this king knew that no amount of time would ever give this man enough time to ever pay off this debt. And so what this king does is he feels pity for this man, and he rips up this IOU. He rips up this debt. He rips up this invoice. And in this story, we are not the king. God is this king, and we are the person that owes God millions of dollars. That we are that for salvation, there's no amount of good deeds, no amount of good works, no amount of church services that we could ever do that could put us in right standing with God. So that gap between us and God, that we, because of our sin, because of our disobedience to him, there's no amount of promises or good deeds or anything that could ever fill in this gap. It took God canceling out this debt, and then Jesus on the cross paid that debt for us. So this man is basically forgiven this $1 million debt. He then right afterwards, after he leaves this king, he goes to a fellow servant who owes this man a few $1,000s. And so this man grabs this other man by the throat and he demands instant payment. And it says that this fellow servant fell down before him and he begged for more time. Please be patient with me and I will repay it. But his creditor would not wait. He had the man arrested and put in prison until the debt could be paid full. So this guy that owed this $1 million debt and was forgiven for it, throws this other man in jail for this debt that was like $5,000. And that paints this picture of, because God has forgiven us so much, that any infraction that anybody ever does to us, no matter how big or how small, no matter if it's Zara drinking my last soda, or whether it's Brittany Johnson making fun of me and my stutter from 6th grade, or whether it is any number of things, no infraction that any human could ever do is bigger than the forgiveness that God gave us and Jesus gave us on the cross. So then some other servants saw this and they became very upset. So they go to the king and they tell him everything that had happened. Then this king called in the man that he had forgiven, and he said, "You evil servant, I forgave you that tremendous debt because you pleaded with me. Shouldn't you have mercy on your fellow servant, just as I had mercy on you?" Then the evil king sent the man to prison to be tortured until he had paid his entire debt. And that is what my heavenly Father will do to you, Jesus said, if you refuse to forgive your brothers and sisters from your heart. So because this man did not forgive the debt of this other servant, this $5,000 debt, the king sends this man to prison to be tortured for his entire life. And at the end of this story, Jesus says, that is what my heavenly Father will do to you if you refuse to forgive your brothers and sisters from your heart. And that's the thing about forgiveness, is that forgiveness comes from the heart. It is this internal thing. It is something that releases chains from us. It releases bitterness and pain and thinking of all of the drama and all of the baggage and all of the pettiness that we carry every single day because somebody wronged us, somebody hurt us, somebody did something that we got offended by. And all that unforgiveness does, all that pain does, all that bitterness does, is holds us back from experiencing God. The Christian faith is built on forgiveness. It is built on God ripping up our debt, ripping up our IOU, and saying, hey, there's nothing that you can do to pay me back, but I'm going to cancel this out anyways. And so we are called to do the exact same thing. So some of you might be wondering, how do I know if I have unforgiveness in my heart? I'm just being real. If your tone of voice changes whenever you talk about someone, if your heart beats faster whenever you see somebody, if your actions change whenever someone enters the room, you probably have unforgiveness in your heart. That could be something with your mom or dad. That could be your best friend. That could be somebody that you've only met one time. We think that forgiving somebody means we aren't going to explode on that person. It thinks that we aren't going to yell at that person or hate that person, but there are still seeds of bitterness, seeds of unforgiveness that lie dormant within us, and there's no way that we can experience true freedom. That is what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is this internal freedom so that we can live life positively and not being upset just by anybody's infractions, but is living freely from that. So then the question is, how do I become more forgiving? Like, it's one thing to say, forgive somebody. It's another thing for you to actually do it. It's much easier for me to say that I forgive Zara for drinking my soda. It's a totally different thing for you to say that you forgive your dad that hasn't been in your life for 10 years. It's another thing to say that you forgive your boyfriend that said that he loved you, but he treated you completely wrongly. It's another thing to say that you forgive your best friend who betrayed your trust. It's another thing to say that you forgive somebody whenever there are serious things, infractions that have been done to you. So one, what I truly believe is that if you pray for your enemies, if you pray for those who have hurt you, God, the Holy Spirit, is supernatural, and he will begin to work on your heart. And the second thing is that you cannot forgive somebody if you just look at their sin. If their sin is what you see, the motivation to forgive that person is going to be very, very hard. It becomes much easier to forgive somebody whenever you look at your sin, whenever your sin is put into the mirror and you see that God forgave you through all of your mess, through all of your lies, through all of your distrust. God still forgave you. Whenever our viewpoint is put on our sin, it makes it much easier for us to forgive someone else's sin done to us. One of my favorite verses, the verse that I actually had on the back of my Letterman jacket in high school, is Matthew 5:9, and it says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be the children of God." I think a lot of us are good peacekeepers. We like to keep the peace, but peacemakers takes initiative. It takes us taking the first step. It takes us making something happen, and forgiveness is just like that. Forgiveness will not come naturally. Time does not heal all wounds. That is a phrase that a lot of people say, but that doesn't happen. Time just makes bitterness and pain remain dormant within you. It takes initiative. And so as you are watching this right now, like, honestly, write down the people that have hurt you. I know that there's probably a list in your mind right now of people that you haven't fully forgiven. And pray for those people. Pray that God will change your heart to forgive them. Even if they don't ask for forgiveness, it doesn't matter. They don't need to ask for forgiveness, because them asking for it won't change anything. It won't fully fill in that gap. Forgiveness is for you, so that you can freely live your life how God has called you to live this kingdom characteristic of God's eternal kingdom that Jesus' parables are all about. So I'm going to pray, and then we can end off with one song of worship. God, I just pray just for everybody watching this video right now, God, that you will begin to stir in our hearts, God, just areas that we haven't forgiven somebody. God, whether it's small infractions or whether it's things that happened years ago that are really big things, God, that we just cannot let go of. God, I ask that the chains and the baggage of unforgiveness and of bitterness will be removed. God, that you will give us the motivation, God, to forgive those who have hurt us. God, that your ways are so much better than our ways, God, that in our own willpower, on our own strength, we cannot forgive those that have hurt us. So, God, I pray that you will give us your strength, God, to do the tough things, but the things that will lead to a more free life. It's in your name I pray. Amen.
Walking around these walls, I thought by now they promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me yet. See you move mountains, and I believe I see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe I see you do it again. I've seen you move the mountains, and I believe I see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe I see you do it again. I've seen you move the mountains, and I believe I see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe I see you do it again. Promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me yet. Never failed me yet. I never will forget. You've never failed me yet. I never will forget.
Woo! That will do it for Wednesday Night Live this week. Remember, next week we are doing Wednesday Night Live out in the parking lot, the north parking lot here at St. Andrew. So be sure to come on out and hang out with us and hang out with your friends in the parking lot as we show Wednesday Night Live on our giant blow-up projector screen. Be sure to tune in to Sunday School this week at 9:30 on Sunday morning on YouTube. And yeah, have fun with that. We'll see y'all next week.